Welcome. I did this instead of killing myself. A stand-up comedy lifestyle podcast I host out of my apartment. It is Monday, August 9th, 2021. And I feel fantastic. Feel rested. Just took a kind of a little bit of a week off. Not totally, but a week off of doing podcast stuff. And I'm so happy to be back doing this. I was in Michigan last weekend, spending time with my family. It gets weirder and weirder when you visit family, and you don't, because as you get older and you don't have the wife and the kids with you, because in West Michigan, if you've ever been there, it's normal to be settled down with kids at age 32. I'm not. So, feel a little fish out of water there. But it actually, the most important thing is seeing the family. And that was amazing. Talked to Mitch Bakker, tried Street's Taco Kitchen. And that was great. So yeah, good to be back. I'm rambling, but yeah. It was good to be back on stage last week, and it was good to feel somewhat validated that even though I'm in a weird phase of life, I don't feel bad about not being married or not having kids yet. It'll happen when it happens. Slide into my DMs if you're single, I guess. No, I'm fine. I'm doing fine. Doing great. All right. Today's guest, Dougie Almeida, episode 16. Dougie is a recently relocated comedian from Florida to Greenville, South Carolina. Dougie is a pro. He is a touring comic. He is, let me pull up his bio real quick. Hailing from Queens, New York, Dougie spent most of his adult life as a corporate presenter for a financial planning firm. And then he started doing stand-up comedy about 14 years ago. He was the winner of Improv's New Faces of Comedy, and he's participated in many comedy festivals, including the Laughing Comedy Festival, Gilda's Laughfest, SLO Comedy Festival, Your Asheville Comedy Fest, NOHO Comedy Fest, and Boston's Comedy Festival. He was a semi-finalist in Cleveland's Comedy Festival in 2013 and a finalist in the World Series of Comedy main event in 2015. Dougie has appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live on the segment Wall of America. Dougie's awesome. So he's got a rap sheet. He's commonly a feature act, also a headlining act. And one of the guests that we are very privileged to have as a guy who's more experienced than our new comics, certainly more experienced than me and a lot of the other comics you've seen on here. So Dougie's great. Unfiltered, hilarious, Florida fat guy. All right. He's not fat. Just kidding. All right, so that's the interview. Before we get into that, this week in local comedy, the week of August 9th, we got the usual open mics on Monday. Coffee Underground starts at 7 o'clock. Craig Holcomb, No Expectations. After that, Habib's Mediterranean Restaurant, 8 o'clock. All Jokes Aside, hosted by Dante Anderson. Both of those are free. Tuesday, Doolittle's in Anderson. We have Jalen Orr, our very own Jalen Orr from episode 3. He is featuring this week. The mic starts at 7. Open mic slots are available. Wednesday, we have the Radio Room at 8 o'clock here in Greenville, hosted by Adam Schulte. Sign up before 8 o'clock. And then we also have an open mic that's opened up in Asheville at the Asheville Music Hall. I believe it's called the Disclaimer Stand-Up Comedy Lounge open mic. I saw Jess Cooley promote this. I'm not sure who the person you want to reach out to if you want to do that. But sign up starts at 7, and the show starts at 8 o'clock. I believe you could probably just show up there at the Asheville Music Hall, 31 Patton Ave in Asheville at 7 o'clock. Thursday night, Jokes Out Loud at the Comedy Zone. That is our open mic joke show. Last Thursday was awesome. We had the joke show, and we had a lot of comics come, and a ton of people that have been coming out, and a lot of people that have been on the podcast have had great sets. And the momentum of the show sustained the whole night. And for an open mic, that's not always the case. So really like the comics that are coming out regularly and getting developed. And then anyway, Friday, or before I say that, Thursday is 8 o'clock, $10 cover. And then Friday, I believe the Liberty Joke Show is happening. I didn't see anything on Tom Emmons' page, but check that out. If it is happening, it's 8 o'clock on Friday, 10 o'clock, $10 cover. All right. That's it for local comedy. Here's the interview with Dougie. Hope you enjoy it. Dougie Almeida, welcome to my apartment.
What's up, man?
He's checking out the place. He's looking around curiously. It's trashed.
I mean, it's kind of like Hoarders, but without the crap. You're a single guy. I mean, you bring a girl back in here, and the girls like that. Oh, there's clothes on the floor, and I mean, you gotta.
I think maybe they like the not give a crap attitude.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, when you're
That's
thin
what I'm
and good looking and 6'4", they don't give a shit.
I'm 6'3".
Whatever.
Dougie, this is you really tripped me out one time when you said your theory about, it was a compliment. You said you look like a handsome person on stage, so people are immediately going to hate you.
Yeah.
So a likability thing is,
I don't know
that was really nice, but it really messed with fun.
I don't know about hate you, but to be a comic, there has to be you see a real big fat guy on stage, John Pinette,
Yeah.
You see a real ugly dude, and it's, people are just going to be like, oh,
Yeah.
But it's hard to be funny when you look like your life is great. You can't be comedy's about misery and stuff, and
Yeah.
right. So
Yeah.
it's hard to be like, oh, I
hear
got
you.
so many girls I'm dating, and I got a job, and and my face, I have no zits. I mean, it's hard to be funny.
True.
If your life is great.
True.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
You should talk about your apartment.
Yeah.
How messy it is.
I do talk about my apartment.
Yeah.
That's some new stuff I talk about.
There you go. That's a good topic.
Yeah. Talk about how I don't have my shit together. It's a good thing. Yeah. Do you think it's like a fat guy goes up and talks on stage and talks about how fat he is the whole time?
No, you don't want.
That's kind of hack to be.
You don't want to do that. I mean, you want to, I open up with that stuff because it's self-deprecating. I want to come out and make fun of me.
You're not fat. You gotta.
There's two types of fat. There's fat, and there's I could still get laid fat.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
you got some swag.
Yeah, I got that Tony Soprano kind of
exactly.
thing. He looks powerful.
For some reason, I thought Joe Pesci, but that wasn't right.
Well, that's not nice. I mean,
no,
Joe Pesci, little short guy.
Funny how?
Yeah.
I didn't mean it as a negative. Joe Pesci, his edge. You give people shit pretty immediately. When I've only met you a couple months ago, and you were giving people shit out of the gate.
Really?
Oh yeah, it was helpful. It was helpful because this Greenville comedy scene. I mean, our open mic scene that's very small and very early. It's a
newer group. There's more freshman, sophomore.
Oh yeah.
In the category the comics here, which listen to me learning. I always wanted to be told. I have when it came to anything like comedy, that was the best advice when people just shoot it to you straight.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? The ones that don't, you're like, oh, why'd you say that? Or I mean.
No, it was helpful. It was helpful because anytime we get somebody who moves from somewhere else, I really like to talk to them. David Zasloff, who we had on previously from LA, you from Florida, and I'll do your bio before the interview so people will know a little bit. But yeah, when you came in, it's helpful to know because one, we don't know what we're doing, and two, it helps save time.
So is this the podcast?
This is the podcast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to know if we're starting. Again.
This is how I do it.
All right, cool.
Do you want to critique it? We could.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going. But yeah, I was just gonna say our first conversation. I remember you were just kind of looking around, like, oh, what the fuck's this? You guys do it this way? Oh, that's interesting. And then you go on stage, and we see how a more professional comic does things. So
where was that? Was that at the Zone, or was that one of the
first time I saw you? I think was at Radio Room.
Yeah.
And I'd heard. I think you had reached out to either me or Kelby because one of us had a mic going, and then I saw you there. Didn't actually talk to you that night, but then I think I saw you on stage the next night at Comedy Zone.
Yeah.
So.
And it was, you know, I mean, my wife hates it because I'll wear my emotions all over me. You know, like I'll be at an open mic, and if somebody's just horrible, you know, I'll be like, oh,
Yeah.
you know, like, oh God. My wife's like, stop, people are looking at you, like, you know.
Yeah.
And but you know, that's what it's all about. I mean, like last night, you know, we were at the radio room last night.
Yep.
And this one girl brought all her friends that didn't shut up the whole time when and that one dude just went, you know, ape shit on him.
Yeah.
I thought he came back in when that girl got on stage, and I thought he was going to just start screaming and playing the cymbals.
Yeah.
I thought I was waiting for him just to start making a bunch of noise, but
yeah,
you know, but it's an open mic. I mean, you know,
that was kind of messed up though, that situation, because the atmosphere at Radio Room is like a bar. So there's lots of distractions and people talking on the other side.
But they weren't just talking. They were talking loud to each other. It was like everything is, you know, like, well, oh, really? And it's just these conversations that are like, it's not that important. Like you're not enjoying that conversation as much as you're acting like enjoying the conversation.
Yeah.
You know?
But just that would be bad. But the fact that they were there to see comedy, but to see one person. Yeah. So then they all shuffle in for her, laugh hysterically at her shit that wasn't funny.
I didn't hear one punchline.
No, it wasn't jokes.
It was like, you know, this is, you know.
It was fake loud laughing. Then they left. I was like, dude, there were a lot of comics that were like about to just go scorched earth on them.
Yeah, I was so glad that I got up before that.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and you never know. Like, that open, I was glad I had a newer joke, a couple newer jokes I wanted to put up there, a couple. But, you know, that I wanted to just, can I get a laugh, you know?
Yeah.
Will this one line get a laugh? And, you know, and some of those people, like that room's young, like that's like a woke crowd, right? They're like, I mean, I walked in, there was people with blue and pink hair, and guys with goth makeup on and shit. And
it can be woke. Yeah. I think it's definitely left leaning. I don't mind doing rooms like that. I love the people there. I don't do political comedy that much, but
well, it's not even that you do. It's like, but if you say certain things in a crowd like that, they're like, oh, you know, that person's, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, just relax, you know, chill out. Like, everybody's so, you know, it's always amazing to me where some people, when you look at them, they look like a fucking, like a car wreck.
Yeah.
Right? And they're the ones who are so quick to judge about, you know, they're so quick to like, oh, I need to figure things out. Like, I don't understand the youth today. Like, you know, you don't want to be judged. Like, you don't, like, I don't, like, I mean, I judge. I'll see somebody else and go, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, well, that's fucked up. Or, you know what I mean? I'll just note, right?
Yeah.
And then
you won't go after somebody based on it.
I won't diminish them for that. I won't say, hey, what the fuck? You know, I'm just saying, wow.
You won't take it upon yourself to like say that has to stop or put them to.
What the fuck?
Or
like,
silence
what do
them.
I care? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I got to do my own stuff, right? I got to worry about me. Every day I wake up, I got to worry about what I'm going to do, who I'm going to say, I'm not going to worry about other people.
Yeah.
But it seems like the people that are so concerned about being judged or, you know, that you look at them, you're like, oh, fuck, you know.
You should feel sorry for people who are obsessed with the cancel culture. They probably don't got else going on.
Well, I just hope. I feel like we're starting to get through it.
Really? That's what I was going to ask you. So you think it's kind of on the way down and we're going to get out of it?
Yeah, I think a lot of people realize how stupid it is. I think a lot of people realize how ridiculous. And yeah, I think more and more people on the fringes are like, you know, skating away from it. And because people just like see it and happen and like, oh, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Now people see it happen and they're like, this is, you know, this isn't right.
You know how I feel like I know it's fake is, do you remember during the pandemic, like when it first hit and everybody was panicking? Because I remember the Sunday night when Trump had the press conference of like, okay, cases are spreading, everything's locked down, 2 weeks to slow the spread kind of deal. Yeah. Everybody was so freaked out that over the course of those 2 weeks, you didn't hear anything about, you know, PC stuff. You didn't hear anything like it. When people thought the world was actually ending, nobody cared.
Yeah, all of a sudden, everything else seemed mundane.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like worrying about cancel culture, like that's a luxury when things are good.
Yeah,
you don't worry about what words to use.
But that changed. But
it changed back.
It took like 2 weeks, and everybody went back.
Oh yeah, it took a couple months for sure. Then people were back. But what do you think? So you're a Florida comic.
Well, I was a Florida comic.
Right.
I mean, now I'm here.
Were you born and raised in Florida?
No.
No.
Queens, New York.
Queens, New York. Okay.
And then moved to Florida when I was like 4 or 5 years old. I mean, I'd go back to Whitestone. I'd go back, for the summers for a little while. But basically grew up in Florida, South Florida.
Gotcha. And you started doing stand up down there.
Yeah.
Why did you start? Why did you want to do it?
I always wanted to. I loved comedy. I loved it, and I always did different stuff. And when I was a kid, I did everything else. I played soccer. I was in the martial arts. I played music. I did all those other things. So I didn't really. I really would have wished that I would have gotten into acting when I was in high school and stuff. I actually went to the high school with Bobby Cannavale. He was a good actor. He actually went in.
What is he in? I'm blanking on him right now.
He was in Boardwalk. He was actually an Ant-Man.
He was in Boardwalk Empire?
Yeah, he was a bad guy in there, and he was in the Marvel. He was the cop in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Okay.
That's married to the his I guess he's the guy banging his ex-wife.
Okay.
And great actor, I was done it, but I never did it. And then kind of like in your line of work. I ended up, I've been a financial advisor for 31 years, but I took a little break. I actually took a job with Hartford, and I was like a wholesaler.
Okay.
So I was going around like a pharmaceutical rep, but I would go around all through Florida and East Coast and go to brokerage offices. And
I bet you were good at that. Were you successful at the pharma sale or that type of wholesale finance stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it was funny because, a lot of those people that got the job weren't financial advisors. They're just people that learned the product.
And they were salespeople. They
were
weren't financial
people. And they pushed. So, I would sit down with brokers, and I wouldn't just, hey, here's my product. I'd say, here's an idea how to sell it.
Right.
Yeah, I wasn't selling my product. I was selling sales ideas.
Sure.
And how to get people and giving them, the ways to ask questions and profile skills and things like that. And
I think that's important when you're selling financial services.
Yeah,
if I get a call from somebody trying to sell me that stuff, it takes I'll all but hang up on them.
How can anybody sell anything over the phone anymore? You know what I mean? Like now, my practice. I mean, it's all by referral. I work with a select group of people, but like back in the day, you had to call people. Hi, I'm so and so, and I want to talk to you about money. Who are you? Non-solicitation list. I remember they came out. You call the wrong person, they could fine you $10,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh dang.
And they supposedly give you like this list of like non-solicitation lists. You had to go through your phone and cross-reference.
Right.
How the hell am I going to make a phone call? I got to go through this phone book of numbers I can call.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So you were doing the sales gig in what, your 20s?
That was I think I started that job in 1999 to like 2002. 2003.
Business must have been good on that period.
It was just before the Y2K, and we had the 2000, we had 9/11, and stuff like that. But it was traveling around. But I would end up doing these seminars. I would end up doing these financial seminars, retirement seminars for brokers. They get a few hundred people, buy them lunch, and then you go up and you do a presentation. And I would always make it jovial. I always have a fun, because that's how I sold. I mean, when I was a consultant, I'm not an Ivy League guy. I'm not a guy who's like, I would just sit there and talk with people, and about 20, 30 minutes later, they go, oh, I like this person.
Yeah. How'd you break the ice? Before you were doing any stand-up stuff, what was your natural instinct to break the ice when you were doing those presentations?
I pulled out my dick. Just looked like a lot. Again, it's being likable. I told you, you sit down with folks, and you always have to have that opening discussion. You know what I mean? I always said when I meet people, it's a discovery meeting. You're going to discover whether I can help you or not.
Yeah.
And I'm going to discover if I could be of any help to you. And always a white piece of paper. I'm sorry, off-colored white. I don't want to be.
Yeah, you never use black with a white.
Yeah,
marker.
I don't want to. Al
Dude, you're really triggered, Dougie.
Al Sharpton's gonna be like, "Why is it white paper?" I you know what I'm saying? But
so good.
I would sit down with a blank sheet of paper. Sometimes people get nervous that you have all this shit, written down, and you gotta take all they get nervous. I was a blank sheet of paper. If I, and then it's consultative sales too. You learn, like, if someone's sitting across the desk, you learn how to write upside down.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You ever do that? Like, you're doing something you show.
I've never done it, but I've had like at a car dealer, like the guy who was financing it, kind of did that. He was like, "Here's the offers or stuff."
Yeah, it's the people. You could tell people look at you like, "Oh, wow, this guy's writing upside down. Wow,
dang,
I'm gonna give him all my money." That's a talent.
Perfect.
But so there's ways to ask things, and make it personable, and so that was good. But doing these financial stuff, it was funny. I'd do these conferences. And people, I ended up getting one of the reasons that Hartford's like, look, we got to let you go. We want you to kind of quit.
Because they forced you out.
Yeah, it was like a territory. Like when I started that territory, it was doing like $1 million a month. Yeah, but by the time I got done, it was doing like $15 million a month.
Why the hell would they fire you?
Well, because this guy that was my boss didn't like me. I know, like you say, like I come off, you know what I mean? When I come into town, like, because that's
you're brash, but it's a good brash.
Yeah, like, I'm not being like cocky, you know. I'm just, you know.
You need people like you. If people are too nice, not saying, keeping it real. Like I said, you get it. But go ahead.
Yeah, but
so your boss,
you know what I mean. So
your boss didn't like that.
Yes, yeah. Not everybody. I'm not everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah.
But you know, so he didn't. The guy didn't like it.
Plus, you're probably making a lot more money than him if you're making.
No,
commissions.
he was making good money too. I mean, he was the boss guy. But you know, the thing is that if you're an A personality, like I worked with this comic one time, and you know, he made the expression to me as like it's like two pit bulls in the back of a pickup.
Yeah.
You know, but there's going to be, you know, there's going to be a skirmish.
Absolutely.
You know, so it was just one of those things. We didn't like each other, and you know, I didn't like him, and it wasn't like, you know, if I don't like somebody, you know, if I just don't like the person, I'm not going to be phony. Like, hey, you know.
Yeah.
I'm just not gonna.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up? You know, I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna act like, hey, what's up? How you doing? How's your? I don't give a shit. You
know? Right.
And you know, other people would come up, Jeff. Hey, Jeff. Oh, you want to go fishing? No, I don't want.
Yeah, exactly, dude. I hate that crap.
Nah.
I hate it.
Nah.
I don't want to name specific, but like that happens in anything like work or life where I can just tell when somebody's sucking up or if it's real. I don't know. I feel like as I get a little older, like, you know, I'm not that old yet, but like, I don't know. My patience for like stuff like that is like,
Yeah, you become intolerant to it. Like, you know.
I mean, I'll be nice to most people initially.
Listen,
like,
when I was your age, I was like that. Oh, who? You know, as you get older, you're like, fucking. You know what I mean? Whatever. Yeah, like the old scene, like in Florida. You know, there was I had got into it a few people there because I would speak my mind. I would not hold back, and I think that's in a way, if I could do it again, would I have done it different possibly? But I don't. You know, I would sometimes if I feel something, I would just let it out. I would not hold back or, you know, try to be a little more diplomatic sometimes. And sometimes it doesn't go well because not everybody is the same way. Everybody's like, I would have rather not have. Like, there was one time a comic, I was booking a show, and the comic asked me, you know, what the person, you know, wanted to ask a question. I told the person that, you know, I think it was a Florida show and it was a New York comic. So the booker had this impression that New York comics can't do 45 minutes. Because a lot of times comics in New York are doing 10-minute sets, 15-minute sets, like showcase sets.
That they want to have just nailed so they can go on at Gotham or whatever.
But the booker was worried that the person didn't have 45 minutes.
Okay.
So I told this person, I said, yeah, the booker's just worried that, you know. And then the comic was like, I wish you didn't tell me that. Now I know that this guy felt this way about me. And I'm like.
Oh, come on. That guy's he's kind of being a pussy there.
Whatever. You know.
So. Did the guy actually not have 45? Is that?
No, I mean, he did. I mean, even when the guy said that, when the booker said that to me, I said, no, the guy's got a lot of time. He's got an album, you know. I wouldn't imagine that. But, you know, but you're just being open. You're just telling the person.
Yeah.
You know, you could have said, you know, like if someone's going to book a show and, hey, I want to have John be on the show. And the guy says, oh, John sucks. I don't like John. Yeah. I'm not going to go back to John and go, hey, the guy thinks you suck. You know, maybe
that's not really productive.
No, I'm going to be like, yeah, I don't know. He's you know,
but I think not having 45 is a reasonable thing to maybe know. Like, okay, just prove him wrong or whatever. Or, I mean, if there's negative stuff, I hate knowing it, but I'm glad it was told to me because I feel like, okay, I saved some time there. Now, even if it's not accurate, at least I know that's how somebody perceived it.
Yeah.
And then I can think about it and hopefully.
Why not? I mean, everybody's going to, like, if. I'd rather know. I don't want to. You know, sometimes when you talk about getting booked, you know, frustration, the comic, you want to get booked, and you're reaching out and you're sending your emails and all this stuff, and you know, people are like, oh yeah, okay, I'll get you in, I'll get you in. You know, I don't want to hear that. I'd rather hear, you know, hey, you know what? I appreciate you sending me my stuff, but I don't think you're ready for my club.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Great. You know what? I'm not going to keep sending you mails every month. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send about 6 months, 8 months, I'm going to send you a new video.
Yeah. And
I would even say that. I would tell her, hey, do you mind? Thanks.
Yeah.
I appreciate your honesty. You know what? Is there a way within 6 months, a year, that I can send you a new video and maybe audition to you. I'd like to come and change your mind in a year, you know. And then they say, no, I just don't like you. I think you're a dick. I'm like, all right, well, fuck you. I'm going to go to your club, I guess.
Did you go about it that way? I mean, is that just your advice to younger comics, or is that kind of how you did it? Did you start proactively asking, or were you just around doing it enough to where people asked you first?
I mean, both, right? I mean, you got clubs that somebody sees you and they, you know, they showcase you, and or they see you like, hey, I'd like you to come host. Okay, great. And yeah, I always tell comics one of the best ways if you want to work a room is if you know a comic that's going to be on a show at that room, then you ask that person, hey, you think it's possible I can maybe get a guest spot on your show? And I want to work that club. I'd like the owner to see me, you know. And then they do that, and that's a great way to get in.
Sure.
Yeah. Then the owner's there. You know, these festivals. You know, World Series of Comedy. I'm going to be in Arizona next weekend. At the House of Comedy. But I got a lot of work from that festival because they have satellites. So they had one in Chattanooga at the Comedy Cats. They had them at the Looney Bins. They have them all across the country.
These are festivals done remote at different comedy clubs?
Yeah, like different satellites. You know, different locations. And, you know, the idea was, look, I don't care if I go there and win the satellite. I mean, if you do, you do. I just want to go and showcase in front of the owner.
Yeah.
I want to, you know, the owner's going to be able to
do
see
your
me.
stuff. Don't worry about the competition, but do this. Yeah.
Just do a great job. And, you know, that got me into the Looney Bins. It got me into Chattanooga comedy. It got me into the Looney's Comedy Corner in Colorado Springs. So that's got me at work, you know.
Yeah.
But Mark Riddle, the Comedy Castle in was that in Detroit area.
Okay.
You know, great room. Yeah, that's the guy who messaged me. He goes, I don't think you're ready for this. Is a few years back. He was like, I don't think you're ready for my club. I'm like, all right. You know, I'm not going to be like, oh, well, I saw some of the comics you have there. I could blow that guy's fucking door. No, you know.
Yeah.
You always want, but you don't. You know, say
Just be gracious. Like, okay, appreciate.
Yeah,
the
thanks so
feedback.
much. I appreciate your honesty. And,
yeah.
I'd love to send you a tape in 6 months, a year, and see if I can get a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still haven't heard back from them. I think I'm ready now.
Yeah.
Mark, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Who knows? But it's hard, you know. The hardest thing about this business is you have people you started with, and then sometimes you see them starting to do stuff, and you're like, it's hard not to get like, well, what's wrong with me?
Yeah, for sure.
It's tough, man. This is a crazy business, man.
Yeah.
Comedy's a crazy business.
Yeah, exactly. That's helpful, you know. I enjoy it just for what it is. I mean, I'm not crazy. I mean, I like to get booked when I do. Occasionally it happens. Actually, today is 1 year for me, so
really?
I'm pretty excited. Yeah.
Well, that explains a lot.
Yeah, that's why you suck ass
That's
so
why
much.
you're so horrible.
No, but yeah, man, I truly enjoy it. The business stuff kind of gives me anxiety, honestly, because I don't honestly, I don't know if this is how you felt when you jumped from finance sales to comedy, but to me, comedy is like such an escape from that because it's pure creativity. So as soon as it starts to feel like I need to get in with this person so that I get booked on this show, there's a big part of my brain that's like, no, that's what you hated about. Not that I hate my job, but that's part of what you were escaping. So, and I will take any gig I'm offered. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I don't want to do work, but I like to keep it pure if I can. Because, I don't know, I just feel like I can become like a piece of shit if I'm sucking up to people. Like, I'm not being...
I mean...
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because, listen, it's you know, it's show business. You have a show and you have the business.
Yeah.
And, you know, some people are great comics. They're horrible business people.
Yeah.
You know, they're forever open micers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and there's some people that are great at business and are not that funny, but sometimes they get gigs because they...
Right.
You know, and it's great to have both. But you have to, you know, I mean...
You have to start to put yourself out there a little bit.
I mean, you just gotta. I mean, you don't want to have enemies, right? Like, even if, like one of the things I've learned, like if I don't like somebody, you know, let's say, I don't know, I can't think of any examples, but let's say there's a person I don't like and they book a room, you know, you know, I'm not gonna. I mean, I'm just hoping that the activity I have on social media and stuff will be recognized.
Sure.
And then if they don't, you know, there was a room in Miami that was very left. You know what I mean? It was very like woke,
yeah,
you know, similar, and you know, so I know the person who booked it, you know, sees me do a couple shows and they're thinking, oh, maybe this person isn't the right fit, and for the most part, I'm not eager to go run to that crowd anyway. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not a real great club or anything. So, but I would reach out after a while. I would reach out to the person, but hey, I just want to let you know that, Yeah, I'd be interested. I'd like to do your show. I've never been asked to do your show, but yeah, I know. You would think I'm not.
I'm not part of the.
I'm maybe but I'm a professional and I can work.
You
that.
read a room. You're not
Yeah.
going to go in there and
not going to be
with the Make America Great Again hat on or anything.
Fucking MAGA hat. I walk in there with All Lives Matter T-shirt. You know what I mean? It's like so. I mean, but yeah, I mean. That's the thing, you want to, you're right. You don't want to be phony. Like people say, hey, you've been in financial planning so long. How come you have a lot of financial planning jokes? I'm like, because I don't want to, like, I want to differentiate. I don't want to be in that,
Yeah.
I don't want to make fun of that stuff because then it'll be too then I find it personal. Make, one or two jokes, but.
Yeah. I haven't talked a lot about my job either. And I'm very blessed to have the job I have. I love my job, but it's a job. And
so who did you blow to get that job? Who did you?
Oh, dude, so many people.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I sold my soul to get that job.
I'm telling you. Now this is
it was a grind.
You got a degree, college
yep,
degree.
Economics degree. I was an analyst 2 years out of school, and then I worked. Been with the same company this is my 10th year at the company.
Good company, good stock.
Yeah, good company, and we.
You don't ever say it on here, do you?
No, I probably won't. I could edit it out if I said the name, but yeah, they're amazing. The culture's great. Being a sales rep at this company was kind of what everybody wants to do. So I got rejected for a bunch of jobs. I got turned down as an internal candidate 3 times. So
in that line of work, they have a lot of women. I mean, they have a lot of like.
It varies. It varies by division. The division that sells stretchers is predominantly like all women, not all women, but there's more. And then I was in a division that sold power tools to surgeons. A lot of dudes.
Right.
I don't know what it is. I think maybe it's just the culture evolves a certain way.
Interesting.
And it's kind of changing now to where it's all. I mean, there's diversity stuff that's encouraged, and I don't love that, but I also don't mind the outcome all the time. I mean, there's like tons of great people I've met that maybe. Wouldn't have otherwise if it was just a good old boys club the whole time.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
I always think of pharmaceutical reps, and there are always these hot chicks.
Yeah, that's true for sure.
There's a lot of been a lot of male doctors, but there's a lot of female doctors too.
Yeah.
So then you got to hire,
With my company, there's 20 business units now, and it's like very siloed, so it kind of mirrors the call point of that division. So like our division that sells to neurosurgeons. It's funny, neurosurgeons. No offense to anybody who might be listening. They can be kind of egomaniac a-holes.
Yeah.
The neuro drill reps are egomaniac.
Yeah, the same
intense.
way. Yeah.
Intense. My division now, we're pretty chill. We're kind of like kumbaya. We're trying to encourage safety in the operating room, build new standards of care. We're all very like, let's bring people together. Very soft sale approach. Surgeons we call on, but not. It's more of an administrative, holistic kind of thing. But yeah, it's interesting. So yeah, it's not all just hot chicks. We do have a lot of beautiful girls, but yeah, there's a lot of. But anyway, yeah, the comedy thing though. I mean, how long were you open micing before you started kind of doing more serious work as like a professional comedian? Because you're 15, right?
It's like 13, 14. I think I started in 06. Yeah, I think it was 06 more or less. I started. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's probably a year or two. Like I remember my first gig at the New York Comedy Club in Boca, and my second gig was at the Boston Comedy Club in New York. But it was like I would just do open mic, and there wasn't a lot. Like back then, you had one open mic a month at that place, the Improv, local South Florida.
That's it.
Improv.
You can only get up once a month.
Well, it was like maybe 2 or 3. Back when it was like the New York Comedy Club had an open mic once a month. Then there was some other weird room, and then of course the South Florida Improvs at the time. They had Palm Beach, Miami. You'd go to those open mics. So, but it was the first time because I had brought some people. So I remember getting the call from New York Comedy Club. Hey, you're the guy who brought all those people the other day, right? I go,
how many people did you bring?
I don't know, like 20 people, maybe. And then
wow, that's a pretty big crew.
Yeah, and see if you're a dick to people, they still like you. But yeah, they said
yeah.
they
Sometimes
come
like
on in, come on in. I'm like, so yeah, I got the host, and there was no pay. There was no pay for this hosting gig.
So it was a hosting gig. Okay. So it was a weekend show.
Yeah, Friday show, 2 Saturday.
So you did what? Saturday. 10 minutes up top and introduce the acts?
You're doing 15 minutes, more or less. So,
okay.
I didn't get, again, I was a financial guy. I was making 6 figures. I didn't give a shit about $25. Other comics like, I'm not going to do it if they don't pay me. I'm like,
that's a little bit.
I'm doing 3 shows, and they would, and then you were doing well, so they would use you as a host. So at least twice a month.
Yeah.
So now, so you're doing 45 minutes a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do 9 open mics
to get that amount of stage time. To get that
same stage time.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a difference between doing 5 minutes and 15 minutes.
Totally.
You start doing set structure.
Mm-hmm.
You're not just telling a joke and, this joke works. Now you're putting jokes in a line and a sequence and transitioning and stuff. So.
Yeah. Well, most recently I've started to do hosting gigs that are and it's different to me. And sometimes I'll watch. I don't think I've ever seen you host a show, but I'll watch guys like Brandon Rainwater, Jazz Gill, just people local that do it. And to me, I have a whole new respect for what a host has to do because you start from like nothing.
Yeah.
Like the default of the audience is not happy laughter. Like it's on you to bring the energy, break the. Or Tom Emmons says that, somebody said it about Tom, but breaking the fourth wall, sort of getting people comfortable enough to laugh and look at the stage. That's so hard to do.
Yeah.
So
it's the hardest job on the show. I mean, it's one of the most important jobs on the show, if not the most important.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the hardest, And Canada, New York, a lot of the main clubs your opening act was not a rookie. Mm-hmm. Your opening act is a headliner, is a strong act that can run the show.
Mm-hmm.
And like my rooms I book in Florida, that's if I can't be there, especially I'm living here, but when I can't be there, the people I have hosting are strong, like feature headliner acts.
Right.
Because I don't, you just want to put somebody up there because it is.
It's your name too behind it, right?
Yeah. The quality of your production. So. Yeah, but it is different, and a lot of people think you got to come out and be funny as hell, and it's not, because your job is to structure the show. Mm-hmm. Hey, everybody, we're having a show. Mm-hmm. Sit down, enjoy, let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
And you get them. You don't want to do too much crowd work because then the next comic comes up and they may be a monologist, and they don't want to. Now the crowd thinks everybody's going to talk to them.
What's a monologist?
Somebody who just tells jokes, speaks.
Okay. So you don't want to get them so comfortable they feel like they can talk to every act and.
Yeah, because that's the thing that sucks. If you go up and you follow somebody that does all crowd work, then you go up. What's the crowd thinking? Oh, this person's going to talk to me too,
right?
Or they think they can talk to you.
Sure.
And you're like, look, I don't.
So it's kind of the sweet spot of easing into material after.
You may start off with them a little bit. Hey, everybody, let's but then you got to get them in a rhythm of. This is a joke. We're laughing, and then, when one of my rooms, the owner, the guy who used to own the place, he'd be like, "Hey, listen, don't go up to like, how long are you going to do?" I'm like, "I'm going to go as long as that crowd needs me to." Like, I love if I go up and host at 5-7 minutes, the crowd's into it, they're laughing.
You'll get off.
I'll bring up the comic, and then I may just between I'll do a few more. I may do 10-15 minutes total, but if the crowd is stiff and stuff, I may use all 15 minutes. Just to get them going, you know what I mean. And sometimes,
what do you do if the crowd's stiff? Like if you're seeing a lot of this.
I mean, you got to have jokes for that, right? You have to have
You
have to have stuff so they own it. Like, I mean, I have a few things I use. I go, you guys know this is a comedy show, right? Not a reverse mortgage seminar. You guys in the right fucking building. So you gotta bring it to their attention.
Sure.
This is gonna be a long night. If you guys are gonna act like this all night.
Yeah.
And with the pandemic, I'm like, it used to come out and say, well, a lot of you people should have stayed home.
Yeah. You kind of give them shit.
Yeah, you give them a little and
like you would in everyday conversation. That's not a character for you.
Yeah.
Like that's something you would say to anybody. Yeah.
And like you said, who you are. Like if you go up there and, you may go up there and go, boy, I was told I'd come out here and tell jokes. You guys would laugh and stuff and get into it, but you guys are really not with this. Did you not get the pamphlet on how to be at a comedy show? Like so. But everybody that you get good at hosting. Hosting is a great thing to do because you learn that aspect. You're not just telling jokes, but you're really trying to.
And does that make your act stronger? I mean, when you're because then you can always go into that at any point during your set. Like if you feel the energy's off, right? You can.
Absolutely. I mean, hosting helps. Anytime you do any multiple of tasks in this business, it's going to be if you do open mics, they help. You know, if you do a showcase, it helps.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had somebody ask me, is it hard to do an hour? I said it's almost harder to pick 5 minutes. Like sometimes you do a set, you do like a seminar, you do in a festival,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to do 7 minutes, and you're like, well, what 7 minutes am I going to do? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, oh shit, what am I going to just tell jokes, or am I going to just do a bit? You know,
Mm-hmm.
a 3-minute bit.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes but it's always good. Just hosting. Everybody should do that. You know, everybody was always told, go get a room,
Mm-hmm.
host it. Get out there and because it just gives you that much more confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And that you can get in front of people, and because
Mm-hmm.
that's what sucks. Sometimes you go to a show and like, oh, we're gonna put you up first. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Ugh, so you got to be able to get used to that.
Right. Exactly. Do you remember the first set you ever did? Your first open mic?
I don't remember the first open mic. I remember when I went all the way to Miami, and like 4 or 5 of my friends came with us, and this was right after the World Cup. I don't remember if you have any soccer fans out there.
2000.
It had to have been the 2004 World Cup maybe or something like that.
Okay.
If that was it. But there was a Zidane, who was the guy from France.
Uh-huh.
He ended up coaching now. But he headbutted the guy. I think it was a guy from Spain or something. He headbutted him in the chest.
Mm-hmm.
So my opening joke was, here's my impression of a French national team soccer player, and I went up and headbutted the microphone, and everybody's like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Nobody laughed?
Nobody laughed. They're not soccer fans. They don't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. Like, the scary part is when you look at videos, like, especially before I moved, I'm going through all this whole crap and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pulling out these CDs,
Uh-huh.
like early CDs, and I'm like, I look at it, I'm like, oh, it's like, it's so hard to watch. Like, ugh, and back then you thought I was pretty funny, and
Yeah.
but now
yeah.
you watch it and you're like, oh my God, it was so horrible.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
weird. It's almost like a biological process of like how as a child develops, like there's something in your brain that protects you from knowing how bad it is in the
Yeah.
moment. Like I had sets like a year ago that I was like, oh, the people are laughing. Like I'm good at this. I watch them now, like you said. Like, I'm like, I'm embarrassed. Like,
Yeah.
but I'm glad I didn't know that at the time, because if I did, I wouldn't have continued to go. I've asked that to comics before, like what makes any comic go from the first mic to the second one, because they must think.
Well, you get that one laugh. It's like
Yeah.
golf. Like,
Yes,
you have many
exactly.
people that suck at golf. You got golf clubs. Like I mean, when I used to play especially when I had that job, I used to play like 2 or 3 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
So I was shooting in the low 80s.
Oh,
which isn't
yeah.
too bad.
You're a Florida guy.
And but you would hit like shank one into the woods, skull one,
Yeah.
a worm burner.
Yeah.
You're like, ugh, you're just miserable. All of a sudden, you hit it, and it.
Yeah.
Oh, how much? You play another 2 years because of
Yeah.
that one shot.
Yeah.
That's what comedy is. You get that one laugh. You're like, oh, I could do this.
Uh-huh.
And then I think there's a lot of people though. I don't know. I haven't seen it here. I've been long enough, but I know in Florida we used to call them hobbyists.
Uh-huh.
Like these are comics that just show up. They're doing the same 4 or 5 minutes at the open mic every time.
Yeah.
And and you're like, ugh, like is this person ever going to wake up one day and go, what am I doing? Like, but this is their social life. People just, that's all they do.
Yeah.
And that's all they do. And so,
Could it be both?
I mean,
Could it be a community and also something you're seriously working on?
absolutely.
I mean-
It's what you get out of it, right? Like if
Mhm.
you go, all right, like I mentioned at an open mic on my podcast one time, you talk about people getting mad at you and stuff. My
Yeah.
podcast, we used to have a little bit called Honest Tuesdays. We used to do like almost 3 days a week, a podcast, 4 days a week.
Uh-huh.
We had Honest Tuesdays, which we'd have local comics come in at the time, and we would just start talking about somebody. And it was Honest Tuesdays. Look,
Somebody who wasn't there?
yeah, I mean, or we bring up a story of something that happened.
You just
or-
roasted somebody?
yeah, so
That's amazing.
yeah, and so you feel bad, like, but we'd ask that question, like, how bad is it we're seeing the same person come up to the open mic for the last few years, and it's still doing the same fucking joke? Like, I'm just like, it's amazing to me, like last night you saw my set, right?
Mhm.
I mean, I had a new joke about manly bands.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that worked good. I think it
Yeah.
was a funny line. So, but if I tell a joke and it's not working, and then after third, fourth time, it's just gone. You know what I
Ditch
mean?
it.
You got to move on.
Yeah.
And I'm still it's just always amazed that people would just. But I think you want to be it. Like, if I ever thought about quitting comedy, if I ever thought, okay, what would it be like just to cut, do my financial planning all day, and then I'm done. What would I do? I'd probably go crazy because what am I gonna do? I got to sit home with my wife. You know what I mean? She's not gonna watch it, so you know what I mean. Like you start thinking like because it takes so much time, like everything going on with it. So I think it's a fun thing. We had my podcast had Mike Merrifield, comic. He's in Nashville, breaking on my other buddy who's on the show, but it's a camaraderie. You know, it's like a brother. Like we like Phil Kors. I'll go to L.A. And I'm like, who do I know? I don't know anybody here. Next thing you know, hey, you know everybody because you've seen each other in New York and Chicago.
The network isn't that huge, is it? I mean, of people that seriously do it, that are not quitting, that are getting better, that are, you know.
I don't think anybody should, like, if you like it and you know, everybody has their own track, right? I mean, you know, I look at it this way. I'm in my 13th, 14th year. I know people, look at Brandon Rainwater. He's only in his 7th, 8th year, you know, and he's funny. He's already doing stuff.
He's touring with Ginger Billy now.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
He announced his tour today. Did you see that?
Yeah.
I messaged him. He's got so many dates. I was like, dude, that's great. That's great. So.
Well, what's great about that is that, you know, Brandon's a great guy, nice guy. And, you know, he's pretty much running the local club.
Yeah.
Right. And it's good that because now if he is busier, that means he won't be around as much to host.
Yeah. Maybe some of us will get a little.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you get to open a little room up and it's always great. You know, you are competing with other comics for stage time. You are, but you're really not. Like everybody has their own lane. And, you know, I'm like I haven't done my first album yet. People are like you're in your 13th, 14th year, you haven't had an album. Like I'm not. You know, a lot of my friends got albums and stuff, so they can have stuff put on like XM satellite, you know, and satellite radio.
Does that
comedy
stuff usually
channels.
Work, or is
well,
it?
You get
it
money.
tough?
You know, it's gotten different over the years, but it's nice if you get an album and you send it in, and then they play it because then you have you know you get the royalties and stuff. So some comics want it just for the money. I'm not caring about the money. On my first album, I want to make sure it's exactly what I want to be my first album. So
sure.
In the meantime, I just keep turning over, trying to polish and turn over material.
Just writing and working.
Until I get what I want. I know what the name is. I got the title of it.
Well, you want to share it, or you going to keep it?
You know, I've said it. I mean no harm. I mean that's. You know, I come off as being this person, but deep down inside, because everybody when this guy, like you said, they're intimidating. The guy looks a little mean, or he's like, you know, looks like a dickhead. But I'm really not. I'm like, once you get done, I'm like fun, and I don't give a shit. You know, but like my wife, when people meet my wife, they're like, why didn't she smile? You know, because she's not a smiler. She's a resting face person. Just you know, doesn't mean she's mean. And well, she is kind of mean.
Yeah. Well, to me, that's cool what you said about everybody has their own path, and you're kind of competing, but you're kind of not. Because I always quote Gary Shandling. I've been diving deep on some of his old interviews. I really liked him, and very profound guy with very introspective and very smart, I think. But he said, you know, there's no shortcuts. There's truly no shortcuts. So it's not like even if somebody gets hot for, you know, maybe social media, TikTok or whatever. We talked about that before we started recording. Like, just because you're famous on TikTok does not make you a good comic. You have to get good on stage. There's no substitute for stage time. So it's not like anybody's going to leapfrog ahead and sustain that. So we can only really help each other, I think.
I mean, if you want to know what it's like to step into a role you're not qualified for, just ask Kamala Harris. How she's doing 20% approval rating. You know, you stupid bitch. And I fucking hate that. Very unqualified, but you know, in her career, she you know, I like there's certain, I call it wormholing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like my next big thing is I want to be on Dry Bar. So I had a friend of mine that has gone on there twice, and he's like, I can get you on. I can, you know, I'm like, let's do it. I can get you on. I'm like, no, I'm not ready. I don't have 40 minutes I could do in front of a Mormon crowd yet. Yeah. You know, and I want to work on that. So that's my goal now, is to write all that material.
So clean, strictly clean.
Yeah, I mean, more you can't tell political jokes, no sexual jokes.
Yeah.
There's no drug jokes. I mean, I've done a kosher comedy festival, our kosher comedy tour, where I did 25 minutes in front of rabbis.
Does that have to be clean, or can rabbis be edgy?
Yeah, I mean,
I thought rabbis might be down for some edgy jokes.
I mean, they didn't mind like I tell that joke, the wet vac joke. So there's certain things you can mess with, like races.
I watched that
stuff,
on YouTube.
You know,
and wet vac.
You could tell jokes like that because you're doing it in front of kids and stuff, so they don't know what that means.
Yeah.
It's like Shrek. It's like a Shrek joke. Like certain jokes when Shrek first came out, the adults went, "Oh, Mike," and then they realized the kids won't get it.
Right.
They went over the kid's head.
Yeah.
But with Dry Bar, you can't be talking.
It's squeaky clean.
Yeah, you really got your content has to be. So but that I wanted to do it, and but wormholing is like, all right, I need to move forward. How am I going to do it? Like I mentioned earlier, if I want to work at a club, I know so and so. I know this comic. I see that he's going to be at the Chuckle Hut.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Bill, I see you at the Chuckle Hut. You mind if I come and do a spot?
Yeah.
And now next thing you know, they see you and then they book you.
Yeah.
You
can kind of make it casual, like, hey man, I'm going to be in the area, like no big deal if not, but thought I'd ask,
Absolutely. Like I've driven to Atlanta. For me, from Florida, it was like a 9-hour drive. I said, I'm just going to be in. I told the club, I'm just going to happen to.
But that was the only reason you're going.
Yeah, and that's why And
I love that.
Friends are like, "Oh my God, you drove there for a spot?" And I'm like, "I want to work the club."
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, we did that. A couple of comics have started to do that, which is great. Laughing Skull in Atlanta. Have you done that yet?
Mm-hmm.
You have done Laughing Skull?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was so fun. But yeah, it's the open mics are weekdays, so I drive down Tuesday afternoon and drive back at 2 a.m. Tuesday night, and
I'll do that if
I
anybody wants to go there. I'll go back.
Yeah.
I sent my video to them and stuff. But Atlanta's different. Like Atlanta's such a big scene, and Atlanta's weird. I don't want to get into it, but Atlanta's getting scary. I mean,
scary?
Like safety wise, I was in Buckhead a few months ago.
Oh, I heard about some of this. I used to live in Buckhead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, they're trying to secede from the Atlanta city. They're trying to be different. They want to because of all the crime and that's happening.
It's creeping up from Midtown Atlanta to Buckhead.
Yeah, it's getting lawless.
Okay.
In a sense, but yeah, great scene in Atlanta. And acting. Which I wanted.
They got a great movie scene. I think because of the film laws down there, something.
Well, they used to have a lot more movies in Florida, and then Florida said they weren't going to give a state tax credit to so everything went to Georgia and Atlanta and stuff. But so I got to find an agent in Atlanta now because my agent in Miami doesn't use me anymore. And I was doing stuff. I did some commercials and stuff, and I was happy with that. And
what was it like doing a commercial?
I did a Sargento cheese commercial.
Dude, I bet you're perfect for that.
In Spanish.
You're Italian, aren't you?
No, Spanish, Portuguese.
Portuguese.
And
you look Italian to me.
Mediterranean olive oil blood.
Okay.
But it's fun. I mean, it's great. You go for makeup and all this stuff, but it's a lot of waiting when you're acting. It's a lot of waiting. You got to wait for the scenes and stuff. I did a Black Eyed Peas video.
Oh,
we shot that in February. When
like the Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah, yeah. And it's called "Livin' La Vida Loca." If you look at the video, Black Eyed Peas video, there's a guest rapper from Miami. So we shot it, beautiful house in Southwest Miami, in a beautiful $1 million home. And it was in February, just as COVID was starting. So it was really weird. And there was all these hot chicks. There was all these great-looking people. Then the outcast looking, the real fat ones, and there were different scattered through the house of this video. And I'm the guy sliding into the pool. So if you watch the video, I'm sliding into the pool.
That's great.
It's cool, but it's fun. And I mentioned wormholing. So my idea was if I can get a scene, because my acting skills are pretty good.
Yeah.
Some of my friends, I'm a better actor. I'm a comic, but if I can get his part on a TV show, like a character. Then as a comic, you're like, well, hey, this is the guy who's on King of Queens. This is the guy who's on the TV show.
Yeah. Because some of my favorite stories about comics are when I notice a huge name comic and I look back at what they did on a TV show, like Breaking Bad. Bill Burr and Lavelle Crawford were both, Saul's henchmen, kind of, and they're hilarious in the show. And to just see them take off from that is so cool. And that's that's honestly why I bought the ticket when I saw Lavelle Crawford. Was, oh, dude, I know him from Breaking Bad. Boom.
Right.
And obviously Bill Burr's even bigger, but yeah, it's fun like that. And I like thinking about shows like Seinfeld. That's my favorite show ever. But if you think about like the networking effect of that, all of the guest actors they had on that show a lot of them were comedians in New York that Jerry and Larry knew. So it was
Barry Diamond is a comic, good friend of mine out of L.A. And most people don't know him. Very funny guy. But have you ever seen the movie Bachelor Party with Tom Hanks?
No,
Years
I haven't.
ago. If you watch the movie Bachelor Party, which is a pretty good movie, he's his crazy friend. So he had this crazy acting role, and that was him. I mean, that's him. And he,
Did that kind of
he was in Seinfeld too. He's had
he was?
episodes where he's Seinfeld.
What character did he play in Seinfeld? I have that show basically memorized, the whole series.
I don't even. He's like Jerry. I can picture him.
Oh,
He's a.
did he play the awkward guy that Elaine wanted to go on a date with? And
I'm trying to remember now. I mean,
I had a shirt, but the button fell off. Once the button falls off,
that's that weird guy. The
I'll
real
never
soft
fix
guy.
it.
No, that guy's a comic too.
That guy's
right?
a comic too, yeah.
But this Barry's a bigger guy. He's like heavier, bigger than me, kind of thing.
Okay.
But yeah, a lot of comics did that. So even like a friend of mine, Jimmy Schubert, he was on King of Queens. He had regular roles. He was an actor. They would do a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. I did one acting thing so far, and it was really fun.
It was male porn.
Yeah.
Gay porn.
Yeah, we shot it here.
Yeah, right. No wonder.
If you can't see from behind the camera, we got lights.
I thought
and
I was sitting on the remote for a second.
It's like a casting couch.
So what was the acting role?
This was in Atlanta. Most of the actors were from Atlanta, but they shot it here in Greenville. Momo told me about it. You know, Monica works at Comedy Zone, Queen Momo. She was going to be an extra in it, and she called me. They were shooting it downtown. It's called Complicated, the series. Or It's Complicated, the series. And it's going to be on, I think it's going to be on a web-based platform. Johnny Sizemore directed it. And it's basically like a soap opera kind of thing, all dramatic stuff. And I was just an extra. But then when I told them I do stand-up, they didn't ask how long or how, but they're like, oh, you're a comedian? I was like, yeah, kind of. And then they needed a scene at the dinner table with dialogue. So they're like, okay, here's what you're going to do. Just start. Because I didn't have any lines. But then there was this one scene where, they're having a conversation. It was slightly scripted, but we could kind of talk about whatever. So I had a few things, and I just tried to relax and just BS. I didn't know how to act. I just knew how to act like how I would if I was really in it and just be goofy. And I felt like stand-up helped because I wasn't self-conscious. So I was like, just
You're
like
performing.
I was like, okay, yeah. I know how it feels, and it was fun. And who knows if it'll get in the show or not? But
probably not.
Shut
probably
up.
Not. I cut that shit out. That guy said he was a comic. It wasn't fucking funny at all.
Yeah. But yeah, it was really fun. I'd like to do more acting. But you're right about the waiting around. Oh, so much waiting to shoot anything. I was just eating the food that they had for us. I was just crushing Jimmy John's.
Oh my God, when we did the Black Eyed Peas video, I mean, there was a food truck and there was like candies and Reese's and oh my God, and and then I was in a pool, I had to walk around without a shirt, and then I'm not going to do that. It's
you're
hard,
you're like gaining weight in front of the camera.
I know, it's like, hey, that guy got fatter. And it was funny. The slide I slide down was not actually the slide. Like the pool didn't have a slide. They brought the slide, so the slide was not attached to the ground. So when I got on top of the slide to slide down, they had to get a couple people.
Like they're holding the base of a ladder.
Like to keep it from flying. And at first I went down, I thought I was going to fly off the end of it. Yeah. And it's funny, but But it's, and I always tell my male friends that are single, if you want to meet women, take an acting class.
Yeah.
If you are single, two things you should do, gentlemen. You should go take an acting class because if there are other guys in there, they're probably gay. Number one, and also take yoga.
Yeah.
If I was a single man, I'd be back in acting classes and taking yoga classes all the time. That's how you meet women.
That's good advice. I'd probably do at least one of those.
You got to do it. I mean, but acting, acting classes. I did acting.
Is there value in it, or is it just to meet the girls?
Well, I mean, I'm going to come over to your house. I'm going to work on that kissing scene No, but you like anything, you're still you're a performer. So like I did acting before I did stand up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was did some commercials. I did some Shakespeare plays and things like that. And the problem that it affected, like I never had, because I did the seminars and stuff, and I've always been in front of people. You know, I played soccer in front of, my sophomore year in high school, I was starting keeper. Starting goalkeeper on my soccer team. We played in the state finals, like 7,000 people there.
Yeah.
So I've never had that.
You've gotten over the stage.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. And I've spoken in front of like 1,500 people prior to doing stand up. So I always had that thing. But my early stand up was, this guy is not. I was performing.
Yes.
I was not. I was not just up there being who I am. I was performing like jokes, and then that's a lot of
that's not funny. Performing, it's too polished, right? It's like not real.
It doesn't come off as real. You almost like there's it's like there's comics that have like these characters, right? Like I worked with Donnie Bakker, right? He's a character. I have a friend in Miami that he does this, Southern character, right? And it's like, you know what I mean?
I couldn't be that,
What would you be if you're going to be a character? Like,
I don't know. Gilligan?
Exactly, the modern day Gilligan.
You said
Gilligan. We talked about that.
You said
day.
I was Gilligan and you were the skipper.
I'd be the skipper.
But yeah, I don't know how to do a character because I don't, like, I have a hard time finding out who I am anyway. So finding who I am is one thing. That's hard enough to me.
Yeah. And some people just go, like, a lot of times newer comics, they'll emulate who they like. There was a funny comic in Florida, and this guy's funny, but when you listen to him, you basically heard, fucking, I'm blanking on names. The guy who died of heroin.
Sam Kinison?
No.
John Belushi?
No, cocaine, I think.
Chris Farley?
No, long hair, glasses. He plays.
Hedberg.
Yeah, Mitch Hedberg.
Mitch Hedberg.
This guy, when you close your eyes, you would hear Mitch Hedberg.
Yeah,
and that's who he emulated. You know? I mean, Jim Florentine's a good friend of mine, and I would open for him a lot. And then because I would open with him, next thing you know, I'm kind of talking like him.
Yeah.
And I started developing his cadence. And I was like, I can't follow that. I gotta be me, Gotta be me.
Yeah.
This is not gonna be very flattering. I got like a bad angle here. Everybody's fucking stomach.
Yeah, I give myself the good seat usually.
Yeah,
that's straight.
Yeah, it's just.
I didn't do that on purpose. I don't know. No, it's fine. Dougie's rocking the AC/DC t-shirt.
Yeah,
looking good. Is that your style always on stage? You rock band t-shirts usually when I see you perform?
Yeah, I think this is a funny topic because, like, I want to be comfortable on stage, right? Like when I used to tour, I had a beautiful, like a purplish or oxblood red dress shirt, like a little sheen to it. I had suede shoes that matched, sharp. But I'd be on the road and then be like, well, fuck, I got to walk through the streets of New York with these $400 suede shoes.
Yeah.
And then, you would be on the road and then you got to iron the shirt. So you're ironing the shirt. It's no way. Like, then I just started wearing T-shirts. One time, Jim Florentine, I was doing these casino runs to the Northwest, and the booker says, "Dude, no jeans, no T-shirts. You got to wear a coat or something like that because of the casinos." And I'm like, so I asked Jim, I go, what do you believe? He goes, and they go, they don't tell Steven Tyler what to wear when Aerosmith plays.
Yeah.
You wear whatever the fuck you want.
But so did you go against it and rock it?
Well, yeah. I mean, I wear nice new sneakers.
Yeah.
I'd buy I stopped wearing the suede shoes. I got my colorful Chuck Taylors.
Yeah.
I wear nice jeans, not old ripped up jeans.
Yeah.
And I would wear like a coat, like some sort of coat.
Yeah.
With a T-shirt.
Yeah, you can always open with that. Be like, I feel so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
With this. Then you said, "You cool if I take it off?" And then you rip it off. Be like, ugh.
I just think it's funny because there's a comic back home, and I used to work with this guy, and he's such a sponge. I worked with a guy one time, and he's a joke thief. And one time we were working together, and I would open for him, and he's a funny guy. And but I'd open for him, and we did a show one time in Atlanta at a Bakkers at the time, and somebody came up, "Hey, dude, you were awesome, that great set, And then he goes to, "Hey, what about me?" And I'm like, because that always sucks when you're with somebody and they say something like, "Oh, we thought you were great," and
and you're standing right next to him.
Yeah,
like, "Oh, what's up, dude?"
Friends, yeah. That's always fucked up. But
Yeah.
you know, so he goes, "Oh, what about me?" And the guy goes, "Oh, you're a klepto comic," because the guy. I mean, he stole jokes. I mean, a lot of his jokes are not his. You hear the jokes, you've heard them before, you know. And but this guy, he's that way. I call him a sponge because, you know, I used to wear baseball, authentic like baseball jersey, Yankee jersey, Met jersey, Miami Marlins.
Yeah.
Like I would just wear that with. It'd be kind of cool to wear on stage.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. A team you like and
you
part
know,
of your
or the
part
color
of who you
and
are.
match my sneakers.
Yeah.
Like a little bit of color.
Yeah, it's
like
fun.
And then you know, all of a sudden, this fucking clown starts
wearing jerseys.
Starts wearing jerseys. And I'm like, well, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
we had a fallout of 2 or 3 different times. I don't even talk to the guy anymore. And then you know, this is my look. I wear T-shirts with a jacket and concert T-shirts or whatever. And now, guess what that clown's wearing? Every time I see the guy on Facebook, what's he wearing? Fucking concert T-shirt. And I'm like, dude, this guy, you know, get your own. Can you be original somehow?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure I'm not the first guy who's wore a concert shirt or, you know, a rock and roll shirt or something like that on stage. But it's something and my wife hates it because, I mean, we got so many fucking T-shirts.
Yeah.
You know, and
because it kind of feels like once you wear it once, you kind of want to have a big rotation so you don't feel like
And then, you know, your T-shirts, you wear them for so long and then they shrink.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe it's just because I'm fat.
Maybe you're getting bigger.
Maybe I'm just getting fatter.
Yeah.
But sometimes they shrink. You know, sometimes they do shrink. Like after they get worn, you know, especially their black shirts, they end up getting faded. And stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But my wife's like, and because the problem is we'll go out somewhere nice and all I got is jeans and fucking concert T-shirts now. I don't have like a polo shirt.
Yeah.
I don't buy polo shirts.
Me neither.
I don't like
Me neither.
But I'm at that stage of my life now.
You
Where
don't care.
I'm pretty self-made. I can. You know, I can go anywhere with a T-shirt. I don't care. I don't care about wearing. Oh, I got to look nice in this restaurant.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Yeah,
I like that. I like wearing. That's a fun part about it's like a branch off of the creative thing. Like just follow your impulse. Don't question too much.
Well, last night
Whatever
that
you wanna
open
do.
mic, dude, you look like you just woke up. Like you're in some sort of pants and a tee. You just rolled out of bed.
I had just rolled out of bed.
Yeah.
And I have a busy week of work this week. I had a product trial. I had literally the scrubs that I wore into the hospital, and I had a T-shirt, and I was like, I don't care. But
why not?
yeah. But and it is. I mean, I if I was opening, I'd probably have nice sneakers and jeans. I wouldn't be a slob. But yeah. One thing I've done before is I've gone to Goodwill and go to the T-shirt section, and there's a lot of random funny T-shirts like class of 2000 whatever. Like just I have one that's bright orange. It says Beat Hillcrest on it. Just random T-shirts, super cheap, and they're not like crawling with bugs or anything. Like they're nice clothes for people, and I just found that's kind of fun. So
if you have like, I just want to be comfortable on stage, but it kind of says who I am because I'm kind of simple. I'm not like a Harvard, you know, Ivy League educated dude. You know, I've got a lot of experience and wisdom, but I'm just going to try to keep it simple. That's my comedy. I'm not going to write earth shattering, you know, premises and stuff like that. I'm gonna play with the English language, and I'm gonna have fun with the words I choose.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna make you laugh, and hopefully you remember.
That's great.
Before the end of the day.
That's great. I don't feel like you want to be up your own ass too much with like how profound you're being. Like, you know what I mean? Is it Bill Hicks? Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
I never watched a lot of his stand up, but I think he's very political, like preachy kind of like. My take on the world is right, or blah, blah, blah. I like silly comedy. I mean, I do like good points that you haven't thought of before, like, oh, isn't this like this? And that's clever. But
I mean, like I have a joke about cancel culture, right? And make fun of it, and I bring up like a simple story and how it's stupid, you know, like. So I try to do stuff like that, and you know, but you know, like you definitely don't. Like we were talking about George Carlin the other day. George Carlin's one of my favorite comics. I think I saw him 9 times live.
You love George Carlin. Yeah.
Loved Carlin. But as he got later in his comedy years, he became too much of a preacher. He was like, you know, political stuff. I'm like, ugh, you know, it's just too much, you know.
Yeah.
It's too much of the same shit, you know.
Totally. Louis C.K. is my favorite comedian. I feel like he's got a good mix. Like his stuff's really smart, but he'll still throw in a diarrhea joke. He'll still throw in a dead baby joke randomly. He'll still throw in like a 9/11 just out of nowhere. Like he has a. I just love his like how he builds his.
I haven't
acts.
seen him in a long time. But
I saw him live in Atlanta for the first time a couple
yeah?
weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
Post cancellation. Oh, it's so cool.
But that's a guy who can't be canceled because he has such a following.
He's self-made.
Yeah, he can do whatever he wants. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's the beauty of our industry. You can have like, especially one of the things now, like in Carolinas, the shows I've been doing in the North Carolina stuff,
Mhm.
like people love my shit. Like, you know, it's like I can get a base here.
Yeah.
You know, because you know they're not all, you know, like easily like ultrally liberal, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
and this kind of stuff. And you know, when I did Newton, North Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
man, I had like 200 Instagram followers after that show.
Heck yeah.
They were like, you know, God damn it, this guy, you know.
Yeah.
It was fucking great.
Yeah.
I found my people.
Yeah, it's good. You know, there's I had to adjust coming from Michigan to the South, and there's certain just cultural things that are different. You know, like when I come in, I'm like, oh hey, yeah. Well, people are like, goofy white guy, we don't trust you yet.
Yeah.
Bless your heart, we're keeping you away.
Yeah,
kind of
because
deal.
people don't know that in Minnesota, the Midwest, your comedy, they don't like mean comedy.
Mm-mm.
They don't. Why'd you say that? You know, like
Mhm.
they like more. They don't like things that are mean to other people.
Down here, they don't like it.
No, in Minnesota.
Oh, I
and
don't know
stuff
what it's like
that,
up there.
Chicago area. You know, I remember
Mhm.
I was at Zany's in downtown Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it was I told, you know, my jokes kind of mess
Yeah.
with race and stuff, and
Yeah.
they're not racist. They're just we skirt it and we have fun
Yeah.
with it,
Uh huh.
and the crowd got really weird on me, you know,
Yeah.
after on the jokes. Like I go, oh, we're in downtown Chicago. I forgot. Isn't this when Jesse Smollett?
Yeah.
I go, isn't this where that hate crime didn't happen?
Did they laugh?
Yeah, they kind of they realized that they should have shut the fuck up, you know, and don't give me that righteous bullshit. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
So-
but yeah, I'm just trying to figure out, you know, because South Carolina, not a comedy state, really. I mean, there's scenes here, but it's not known for comedy. So like if you go to rural parts and we're doing these book shows that are people not used to comedy, there's certain like easing them into, you know, some of the maybe darker, edgier stuff, and trying to connect early, build the likability, and then, you know, ease into it.
It's always tough when you go to a bar or one of these shows that are, you know, we're gonna put a mic up and a backdrop and it's gonna be comedy.
Yes.
You know, it's not like you go into, you know, the certain comics. So you talk back home in Florida. There's only comics that do the open mics at like the Improv.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's all they do. They don't go do the bar open mics.
So they're
and-
only used to real clubs. Do you
Yeah,
think that
that.
hurts them?
Yeah, because it's so easy to make somebody I've never had a bad show at the Improv.
Yeah.
I mean, these people are paying to get in. Usually, they know what they're doing. You know,
They're warmed up by the time you get up.
Exactly. You know, but if you go into a room, there's a TV, there's a game on. You know,
Yeah.
there's people at the bar. That's not hard. It's harder. It's more
Okay.
challenging. You got to really be strong in what you're doing to get the attention.
This is helpful because a lot of the shows we're doing now around here are outside of Comedy Zone, or if you're opening on a weekend,
Yeah.
they're basically like that, you know. So
Yeah. I got to find out more of this stuff because I'm depressed. My calendar's not filling up.
come to the open mics with us, bro.
Come where?
All open mics. Well, if we announced at the beginning of this show, but I think we have a mic now every night of the week. Somebody just opened a Sunday open mic. We have 2 on Monday, 1 mic on Tuesday in Anderson.
You're not doing yours on the roof?
I paused it because they opened the room in Anderson.
Ah.
So it's hard to make that drive for a lot of people. I may try to do it a different night, but
I reached out to the lady who has an electric comedy show. on
That's the
Tuesday.
one.
That's the one?
yeah, Robin
Yeah.
Scott. Yeah.
Yeah, I reached out to her about doing a closing out one night.
She would love to have you, I'm sure. It's
I sent her my last video.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know where she aligns. I don't left. She might be a little left of
I'm
center, but-
hosting tomorrow night Tom's Room. The joke.
Oh, you're hosting tomorrow night?
Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah. I don't know if I'm going out there or not. I don't know if I
Yeah.
have a clean 5 minutes because that is a squeaky clean room.
Yeah, you got to do that. Now, I like that room to work because I went there once. I did 10 minutes
Mm-hmm.
because for the dry bar special, it's like I told Tom it's be great for me to come when I'm not working.
Yeah.
Come here every week whenever I can and just work on a new 5-minute clean bit, 5-minute clean, 5-minute. And next thing you know, you got 30 minutes clean. So
Yep.
it's
Absolutely.
good practice.
Yeah, I think Saturday night now is the only night there's not an open mic driving distance from here,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. So yeah, I don't know. You think we got a shot at building a little scene here?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, you got a great home club. You know,
Mhm.
I love the zone, the room there. It's
The
great.
zone.
You know, and it's like, and to me, you know, the love I've gotten is that hey, if you're in town, you want to host, you know,
Mhm.
I like to do that, and it's close, and so. And I will just, it's because of all the writing. I want to definitely do more open mics. I've just been on the road a bit myself, but I want to get, and I want to help. I mean, I'm one of those guys. I'm not going to just shut up. I'm going to actually help. I'm going to give people my advice and stuff. So
yeah, we all
fun to be here.
We all appreciate it, dude. We're watching the clock. So tonight we got Comedy Zone Finals contest. I'm not in it because I had a really bad set the second round.
I mean, out of all the times I've seen you, that was easily the worst set I've ever seen you do, and it could be because it's a contest. I always like, but contest, I'm always different. Like, I'm thinking about it too much, and I'm not the same. So
you saw me have a good set after that, which is the only reason I haven't killed myself yet. Yeah,
well.
But no, but that'll be fun. So we got to get to that. So we're at 7:30. So what is the proudest accomplishment you've had in your comedy career so far?
Wow. The proudest?
Yeah. What are you most proud of your comedy career?
I don't know how to answer that. I mean, I've been happy, like recently, moments like when you get passed at Gotham, in New York, great club. I got passed there. I got passed at Dangerfields, and they closed.
So you got passed at Gotham, so you can go up at Gotham and perform whenever?
Let them know, and I'm coming. They'll give me a spot, and
that's
then
cool.
recently at Laugh Factory in Vegas, I got to work there, and that's to me, just being able to work a room and somebody sees, okay, we're gonna hire you. I don't know, but the happiest moment, like to me, the happiest moments are when I'm on stage and I make up a joke or I do something improv right
in
there,
the moment,
and you just make up something. That to me is the best part of it, because you're like, I just made that up, and you watch. 50, 70, whatever people laughing their ass off over something you just said. To me, it feels different, because it's like the laugh of your material that you're used to getting, and then that new spontaneous thing. It's like, and the energy. Yeah. It's absolutely. I've only done it accidentally a couple of times, but that's, And that's what you got to, and it's free to do it, and that's what open mics are for. You just throw a shut out there, and hopefully it works, and that kind of stuff. But I mean. That's the thing about it. It's just, it could go well, it can go, and that's there's a reason why a lot of comics commit suicide, because it's a fucking crazy, like you're up here, you're way down here, you're up here, you're way down here, and then you go home and you're just sitting there like, I'm okay. Then you open Facebook and you see your friend, I'm going to be working all week at the fucking, like, you fucker, like, you know what I mean? It's just a weird feeling. And I hate people that do that, by the way. What? That broadcast where they're going to be all the time? Yeah. Yeah, I put stuff on my story like where I am, right? But not like obnoxiously like, hey, look what I'm doing. I think it's funny. Maybe people think I do. We had a trend in South Florida where comics were like I would put like something like upcoming shows. I'm going to be at the Looney Bin, Wichita, Tulsa, Comedy. But that's legit. Right, those are shows, book shows, and you get paid. And then all of a sudden, other comics were like, I'm going to be over here at this open mic, this open mic, this open mic. I'm like. Okay, yeah. And then people are like, that you shouldn't do that. I'm like, let them do it. Like, part of me is like, I get it. Maybe let them do it so that when they are booking, they get a habit of it. I had a comic when I first started, when I was really starting to get work. It was a Miami comic, and comics get jealous. They get a little bitter. So I would post stuff, and the guy reached out to me. He's like, you're only doing that. I'm sure you're only putting that shit on Facebook so you can piss people off. I'm like, no, I'm actually doing it, so hopefully somebody sees it and they can go watch the fucking show. I didn't think I'd be pissing you off, but then you realize that some people do get pissed off. They see you and they take it personally, which and that's a bit narcissistic, right, on their part, that they think that you're doing it because you're pissing them off, right? But it can be douchey at times, but fuck. But here's the thing: a lot of times, comedy clubs that are on Facebook will see that. Like if you send a comedy club an email, hey, and then they'll go to your Facebook page. And they'll see what you're doing. Right. Yeah. They're bad mouthing this, that, they're bad mouthing this, or they're all politics. This. Like I had comics, I booked shows, so I had comics reaching out to me like, hey, friend, and then you go to their page and it's all political crap. You're like, I don't want that as I don't need to watch this shit. So podcasting helps. This podcast has been fun. Like I didn't have any expectations. It's still very tiny. They're barely, not a lot of, But comics like to be on it, and I've had people reach out, the networking, Charlotte people, Charleston people, Atlanta people. So it's fun. These conversations are kind of
laid back and, you know.
You never know what you're going to find out. Like, I did my podcast for a long time. My wife one time said to me, she's like, "You're not getting any money for that." I'm like, "Honey, I got money. You know, I'm not doing it for the money." And then, "What are you doing it for?" And then, like a week or two later, I got a call from the morning show, real radio show in Florida, the old Paul Castronova show. Like, "Hey, we need somebody to come in to add." So I ended up doing like 6 or 7, spots, like coming in there, and like once a month or every couple of weeks, come in there and spend the morning in a morning show.
Yeah.
Why? Because they saw me on my podcast. They knew I understood timing, and and you do a podcast just telling jokes. You want to get personal. You want to make some fun and have a conversation and make people laugh.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So, all right. Well, we can basically wrap it up here before we go. Where can people find you on all your stuff? You run a show, right? You have your own podcast.
I have a Wake Up Late with Dougie show. It's every Tuesday go to our fan page, Wake Up Late with Dougie show. Airs Tuesday at 8 p.m. I have 2 other comics from around the country. We zoom in and we talk topics. I ask them certain questions that are fun to listen to their answers. We make fun of the news.
Oh, yeah.
Come up with different news stories. As a comics, we try to punch up the news and find humor in it. I also have a podcast called Hanging with Mark and Dougie, my longtime buddy I've known since we were in elementary school.
Is Mark a comic?
No, he's not a comic. He's into collectibles, like sports collectibles.
Oh.
Huge.
He's probably
money.
super interesting guy to talk to.
Crazy shit. And he's really like right wing. Like, like he makes me look like Kamala Harris. You know what I mean? But
you love Kamala.
I fucking hate that bitch. Fucking. You know what I'm saying? Ugh. The most unqualified person ever in a vice president position ever. Yeah. But it's fun. It's a half hour, which is pretty cool. So it's Hanging with Mark and Dougie. Same thing on the fan page. Instagram at Dougie Dangerous, and of course I got kicked off Twitter because I had this woman from England telling me political stuff, and we're back and forth, and then she made it personal, and she was making fun of me and shit until I told her. I wrote back to her. I go, "Listen, I would step over your naked body to blow the corpse of Freddie Mercury." And I guess Twitter kicked me off. I lost my 7,000 followers. So now you can find me at Funny Fiduciary on Twitter.
Funny Fiduciary. So that's like your ghost name?
Yeah, because I'm trying to do
they don't ban you, the person, just the account. I guess they can't. I mean, I guess.
Dougie Dangerous is my old Twitter too. I'm suspended for entire, like me and Trump are in the same penalty box when it comes to Twitter. But so it's.
Do you have your own website?
Yeah, Dougie Almeida. All the dates and stuff coming up. Shows in Fort Wayne, Indiana coming up. Going to be in the Wichita and Tulsa Looney Bins.
This will go up in 2 weeks, just FYI. So from when we're recording this, so hopefully it's not too out of date for you.
You'll get that. Check that out. And I got rooms if you're ever in Isla Mirada. The second Sunday of every month at the Island Grill. We have shows. I got a show in Tavolino's in Coral Springs, Florida, the second Wednesday of every month. And that's Tada Productions. Go to my fan page, Tada. That's 2 Ds, Tadda Productions, where I see all of my productions and book shows.
Wow. Well, that's easily the most we've had somebody promote something. Most activity. That's a great thing.
Oh, and I got my own bobblehead.
All right, dude. Well, thanks so much for coming on, dude. We'll definitely have you on again. And all right, that's it. Thanks, everybody.